Thank you, Governor McKee. Very much appreciate the opportunity to address this group. And Dr. Alexander Scott, thank you for your continuing leadership and partnership. I would ask that you display the new slide displaying the restrictions and new flexibility regarding the restrictions. We are very pleased that today we are able to offer yet more flexibility to businesses in Rhode Island. The improving public health conditions enable us to do so. It requires a lot of consultation with businesses and business organizations. We're grateful to them. I want to thank the outgoing governor and the incoming governor for their attention to these new flexibilities, for their encouragement, and to Dr. Alexander Scott and her team for working through these possibilities and making them a reality. It is hard work. It's hard work on the part of the businesses and their associations and the governmental team, but both the outgoing and incoming governor are focused upon it. It's working, and we are providing for this further easing for small businesses and all businesses in our economy. We know that especially small businesses are affected, so we are in fact focused in a laser-like fashion on assisting them. So as you see on the screen, as Dr. Alexander Scott has outlined, there is first and foremost the change in the social gathering size. She ably outlined the shift to 2 households indoors, 3 households outdoors. We already made that change in restaurants, and that change is a continuing one. That restriction set of parameters continues. We are focused on what we can do also for 2 categories you see displayed: venues of assembly inclusive of houses of worship, and bars and bar areas within restaurants. So I'm going to talk about those today. We are going to start with the changes to the venues of assembly. 4 venues of assembly, including houses of worship. We are going to open up from 25% of capacity to 40% of capacity, with a cap of 125 people in the facility. As a reminder, venues of assembly as a category includes places like performing arts centers, movie theaters, churches, synagogues, and mosques. So in settings where there is structured seating, in an auditorium-like venue, there will be now 40% capacity. For those houses of worship that have significantly greater capacity and where 6-foot spacing may be maintained within that greater capacity, for such houses of worship, there is an exceptions process to go larger than the 125 through the Department of Business Regulation if that is necessary. Let me emphasize what Dr. Alexander Scott correctly always does, which is that it's still safest to stay smaller, and it is still altogether safest to go remote for performances or for worship services. So we ask if that is possible for you, and if, in fact, if that is your preference, as a venue, as an organization, as a congregation, as a parish, please do continue to do so. But we're also pleased that we're able to offer this flexibility if gathering in person is a priority for you, and we're very grateful to the outgoing and incoming governor for enabling that. On bars and bar areas, a couple of things before I get into the new flexibility. Please be reminded that bars in Rhode Island must operate akin to restaurants. Operating like a restaurant means that there is no standing service, there's no congregating, it's seated service only, and there needs to be spacing or barriers between customers in order for the establishment to operate safely. Now I'm going to get into the details of that. At the bar, if parties wish to sit at the bar, they are limited to 4 people or less, with no more than 2 households per party. There is a spacing requirement. The standard spacing requirement, of course, is 6 feet between parties, including at the bar. If an establishment has invested in plexiglass or another impermeable barrier between customers, the new rule is 3 feet may be provided between parties if that plexiglass is in use at that bar. I want to thank all involved in helping to arrive at those changes, which were carefully considered. It's also the case that we're introducing a new rule pertaining to length of stay at the bar or bar area, which is a 90-minute rule. That is to say that a reservation may only be up to 90 minutes total. A seating may not exceed 90 minutes. And we are returning only for bars and bar areas to an early closure scenario. And that early closure time is 11 p.m. 11 p.m., as you may recall, is the early closure time that preceded the restrictions that were undone with restaurants that recently reopened. That was the original early closure time. So that early closure time has been reinstated. I say all this to say that this combination of parameters is being utilized to enable bars to reopen. It's worth noting that multiple states in the region have not yet reopened bars at all, and that includes Massachusetts. Massachusetts has not reopened bars. We're grateful that yet again, Rhode Island is at the leading edge of introducing rules that make sense. We wish we had no limits or parameters, but rules that make sense to keep people safe, and we are at the leading edge of reopening for the sake of our economy. So we are, once again, very grateful to our outgoing and incoming governor for providing the room for us to undertake these changes. It's so important that we continue to consult with business organizations, list out those changes that are possible, compile the public health data, and take those steps that we can when we can. Lieutenant Governor McKee has brought enormous energy to this process, and Governor Raimondo remains very, very committed to it. In partnership, we're making this happen. I want to specifically, as a final note, thank on the restaurant front, I want to thank those members of the Hospitality Association, the Ocean State Coalition, and the Small Business Coalition, who have night and day been consulting with us to enable the changes on the bar front.